I'm Prithvi Shaw.
Prithvi Shaw 333. Save your legs. 4 for Prithvi Shaw. Nicely played by Prithvi Shaw. Beats the fielder at point and runs away.
There is a peculiar allure in watching the rise of a cricketing prodigy, where the confluence of talent and opportunity gives the impression of a story already scripted for greatness. Prithvi Shaw, a young man from Mumbai who seemed destined to follow in the footsteps of India's cricketing giants, embodied this narrative.
It's now time for the Man of the Match award. A trophy, a check of 1 lakh. It could only have been one person. Come along. Prithvi Shaw, you've been here before.
His rise was swift and marked by a sense of inevitability. Yet, as history often reminds us, the path from promise to fulfillment is fraught with pitfalls that have claimed many a gifted player. In Shaw's case, the obstacles have been as much of his own making as those thrust upon him by circumstance. The early years of Shaw's cricketing career could hardly have been scripted better. Born in 1999, he burst into national consciousness while still a schoolboy. His record-breaking innings of 546 runs in a Harris Shield match at the age of 14 set the stage for what was to follow.
546 अच्छा स्कोर है और मेरे पार्टनर ने भी अच्छा 170-180 किया, उसकी भी बहुत खुशी है और हमारी टीम जीत रही है, उसकी बहुत खुशी है.
It wasn't long before Shaw was being heralded as the next great hope of Indian cricket. The comparisons to Sachin Tendulkar were inevitable, especially given Shaw's roots in Mumbai, the same cricketing nursery that had produced India's greatest batsman. Shaw's technique, his ability to play with both power and grace, and his appetite for big runs made him seem like a generational talent. His rise through the ranks was meteoric. Shaw captained India to victory in the 2018 ICC Under-19 World Cup, where his aggressive stroke play and leadership drew widespread praise. Later that year, Shaw made his debut for India in a Test series against the West Indies. At the age of 18, he became the youngest Indian to score a century on Test debut, a blistering 134 that seemed to confirm everything that had been said about him. For a brief moment, it looked as though India had found their next batting sensation. But sport, especially at the highest level, has a way of exposing even the smallest cracks. Shortly after his brilliant debut, Shaw's career took its first significant detour during the Tour of Australia in late 2018. An unfortunate ankle injury during a warm-up game ruled him out of the series, and while injuries are an accepted hazard of professional sport, there were whispers of something more troubling. Reports surfaced suggesting Shaw was losing focus, a vague but damning indictment that raised questions about his attitude and discipline. Shaw, for his part, denied these accusations, but the doubts had already been planted. The following year, in 2019, Shaw's career was rocked by a much more serious incident. During a domestic Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy match, Shaw's urine sample tested positive for terbutaline, a substance prohibited under the World Anti-Doping Agency Code. The Board of Control for Cricket in India, BCCI, handed Shaw an 8-month suspension, backdated to February of that year. Shaw explained that the banned substance had entered his system through an over-the-counter cough syrup, which he had taken to relieve a cold. While the explanation might have been plausible, Shaw's failure to consult the team physio before taking the medication was a glaring oversight, one that highlighted the lack of professionalism that was beginning to haunt his career. The suspension could have been an opportunity for reflection, a period in which Shaw might have re-evaluated his approach to the game and his responsibilities as a professional athlete. Instead, the years that followed only saw Shaw's issues compound. In 2020, during a warm-up match in Australia, Shaw was once again in the headlines for all the wrong reasons. This time, he was accused of faking an injury while fielding, a claim made by none other than his teammate Ajinkya Rahane. Known for his calm and measured demeanor, reportedly confronted Shaw, telling him that he had seen the ball strike Shaw's shin pad and knew the injury was not serious. Rahane's insistence that Shaw return to his fielding position reflected a growing frustration within the team regarding Shaw's attitude. For a player so young, such accusations were troubling. Off-field issues soon became a recurring theme in Shaw's career. In May 2021, as India grappled with the devastating second wave of COVID-19, Shaw found himself in trouble with the authorities for breaking lockdown rules. He had travelled from Maharashtra to Goa without the necessary e-pass, a bureaucratic requirement in place at the time to control movement between states. Shaw later obtained the required documentation, but the incident painted a picture of a player who seemed unwilling or unable to abide by basic rules. For someone with aspirations of returning to the national team, such lapses in judgment were not helpful. In addition to his off-field controversies, Shaw's fitness, or lack thereof, became a major talking point. In 2022, ahead of the Indian Premier League, Shaw failed to meet the fitness standards required by the Indian team. The yo-yo test, an endurance test used to measure a player's fitness, had a minimum passing score of 16.5, but Shaw managed less than 15. For a professional athlete, especially one playing a sport as physically demanding as cricket, fitness is non-negotiable. Shaw's failure in this area not only delayed his return to the Indian team, but also raised questions about his commitment to the game. By 2023, the narrative around Shaw had shifted almost entirely away from his cricketing abilities to his conduct off the field. Early that year, he was involved in an altercation with a group of TikTok influencers after he refused to take a selfie with them. The situation escalated, leading to Shaw's car being attacked with baseball bats. The incident, which was captured on video and widely shared on social media, ended with Shaw being accused of assault, although he was later cleared of any wrongdoing. Still, the incident served as another reminder that Shaw's life off the field was spiraling out of control. Even as these controversies mounted, Shaw continued to face criticism for his physical conditioning. He was often the subject of body shaming, with fans and pundits alike calling attention to his weight. While body shaming is unquestionably harmful and unwarranted, it is undeniable that fitness plays a critical role in a cricketer's success. Shaw's inability or unwillingness to maintain the required level of fitness was seen by many as symptomatic of a deeper issue, a lack of discipline and commitment that was holding him back. Most recently, in October 2024, Shaw's career took another blow when he was excluded from Mumbai's Ranji Trophy squad after just 2 matches. Reports cited disciplinary and fitness issues as the reasons for his exclusion, further compounding the narrative of a player who has struggled to meet the expectations placed upon him. For Shaw, this exclusion marks yet another low point in a career that promised so much, but has so far delivered so little. There remains time for redemption. At 24, Shaw is still young enough to turn things around. His talent, after all, is not in question. But talent alone is not enough in a sport that demands discipline, fitness, and an unwavering focus on the task at hand. Shaw's journey from a prodigious talent to a controversial figure is a reminder that the road to greatness is long and arduous, and that success in cricket, as in life, requires far more than natural ability.